And welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here today in Madden 25, we will be doing a 5-year rebuild with the New Orleans Saints. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, last time we rebuilt the Carolina Panthers. Now we're going to be rebuilding the New Orleans Saints here. Here are the Saints roster. As you guys can see, we still have Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara is still here, but this team is, for the New Orleans Saints, in the real NFL, my expectations for them is relatively pretty low. Though they're an aging roster that has some solid young pieces around them, but overall it is not a great roster. It's gonna be a tough rebuild, especially due to the cap situation. We have a 33-year-old in Derek Carr. We have to look to replace Carr right away. So in the first off season, quarterback is the biggest need. When you look at the skill positions, Chris Olave is, of course, at the focal point. 24 years old, entering into year 3. He can do a little bit of everything. I think he's in line to having a breakout chance within this series. The Saints drafted Tyson, or I can't pronounce his name, but they drafted this big left tackle here to hopefully become their franchise left tackle. They haven't had one, it feels like, in so long. And because of Ryan Ramczak's injury, Trevor Penny here is going to be starting at right tackle, and Penny is not a good tackle at all. This is going to be a tough rebuild for this offense. There's a lot of star talent. Kamara here, who is 29 years old, he's not going to get any better. There's a lot of these, long-term Saint players that we're going to have to replace, and that is even more apparent on the defensive side of the football. I mean, Cameron Jordan, Demario Davis, and of course Tyrann Mathieu. These are 3 aging players that we gotta have to figure out. The Saints did bring in Chase Young here, signed him to a 1-year prove-it deal, and having an 85 base start for Young is very nice, that he can be here for the next handful of seasons and be our dominant pass rusher. But this should be a fun rebuild. Now, I know in last Madden, the salary cap for this team was tremendously awful, and I'm expecting the same thing. The Saints navigate the cap situation particularly interesting, more than other teams, and hopefully we can kind of do the same. But as you guys can see here, they're really in our top, 6 players. All of them are entering into regression years. Then you have Chris Olave, Chase Young, but this team is old, and we're gonna have to be able to draft particularly well. And also want to make this a focal point. Kool-Aid is one of our young, talented corners that we're gonna try to develop. So let's get to the midway point here in year 1. We'll see what we can do, and have some fun. Let's see how the Saints operate in the first season. Well, a 3-4 start is not terrible, not at all. We have a top 5 passing or yards in terms of offense, but our defense is what's holding us back. A 3-5 record is not particularly great. Derek Carr is having maybe a good start. 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. Not a terrible start. Not a great start either. Just a solid. Not liking or happy about the turnover situation isn't too high. Kamara's having a productive season, which is nice to see. Chris Olave is breaking out, and hopefully we can see maybe some other guys continue to produce for this offense. The offensive line is actually playing particularly well, and Trevor Penny here is actually playing good football, so that's nice to see. Willie Gay leads us in tackles. Chase Young has 2.5 sacks. TFL's Young and Cameron Jordan lead the way. I mean, Do we decide to sit here and trade away the veterans? I will not. Just gonna try to re-sign some players. We have negative $34 million. Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna just sim to the let's sim to the Super Bowl or the playoffs. I mean, with negative $34 million, what can I do? I'm not gonna be able to trade anyone because the game won't allow me. So yeah, we're gonna get to the playoff situation, see if there is any hopes for us, and let's have some fun here. Well, we went 6-10, so I think we started off, what, 3-4, so we kind of just doubled our wins, and that's about it. So not a great start, but it is, you know, it's not great either. I think it's very apparent here, Derek Carr is not the answer for this team. He's entering into year 12 now. We just got to move off of Carr, and hopefully we can find ourselves a quality, you know, second running back somewhere on this team. You know, maybe Kendron Miller, but Alvin Kamara here, less than 1,000 yards rushing. He continues to be, you know, solid back. Running back will be also a question mark entering into this offseason. Chris Olave went for 1,200 yards and 11 scores. Happy about that. Cedric Wilson, 700 yards. Rashid here, 600. Yeah, I mean, we got to find that Robin to Olave. Olave is clearly going to be our best player to start out. Defensively, Willie Gay led us in tackles. Mario Davis was right behind him. Cameron Jordan led us in TFLs. And we just could not sack the quarterbacks. So it's going to be kind of tough sledding here. So, but before we sim, I do want to look at any sort of yearly awards. So MVP is Patrick Mahomes, and we'll just focus here on the NFC and see if there is any Saints. I don't think that there will be. Across the board, no. So let's get into the offseason. Let's fix up this team. I am going to be trying to make these episodes not an hour and a half long. I am so sorry with the Panthers video. I got very excited and I was doing just randomest things. So we're gonna try to make these videos a little bit faster, as I would say, as we've made it past the Super. Oh, I didn't even check out the Pro Bowl list. Damn. Well, okay, you know what? I will still make mistakes. The Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl. Dak Prescott MVP over the New York Jets, 31-26. Sorry about not showing you guys the Pro Bowl roster. In terms of retirements, there probably is a player or two from us, maybe more. And we have to figure out in this offseason how to create salary, because we are not good, and I haven't seen any Saint. No Saint player retired, so Demario Davis and Cameron Jordan decided to stay. So, which I'm happy about, but also was kind of hoping that they would retire for that salary relief. Let's get to the resign phase here. We have 19 players, negative $38 million. We can't sign anyone, and we're gonna be losing a lot. Players like Chase Young, we can't keep. Chris Olave, I will pick up this 5th-year option, just because I don't know how the cap situation will be next year. Paulson Adebo. Now, actually, before we sim, let me go through the salary situation and see if there's any cuts I can make. So there are a few things that we could do. Number one, we could cut Derek Carr and save $10 million. Move off of Alvin Kamara and save close to 18. Cameron Jordan, we can move off of. Same thing here with Taysom Hill, Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, we could make a lot of these cuts, and one of them might be Derek Carr. I don't know just yet. But the problem is that we're not going to be able to save enough money to have over, 50 million. We can't save $100 million. We might be able to dwindle this down to, I don't know, maybe 30, maybe to 0. So we kind of just have to let all these players walk and kind of hope that I can draft some good talent. So yeah, we're gonna have some fun here. We're not gonna really participate, I guess, here in the open free agency market with negative $37 million. I mean, we'll see players like Zach Martin, Nick Chubb, Chase Young, Paulson Adebo. All these guys are gonna go to other teams, and we just can't offer to anyone. So let's get to the draft. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do anything. So this is the current state of the roster. Yeah, so quarterback is still definitely a need. Running back is a need. You could definitely number 2 wide receiver, tight end, left guard is another need. Defensively, maybe getting an interior, a safety. I'm kind of happy at the corner position. Taylor here, he's young. A linebacker couldn't help. We just need a little bit of everything. We pick at 10, so let's see who we pick. I want to give this team a quarterback, but unfortunately there's no quarterbacks available. All of them already have gone off the board. So Mitch Norwell here, wide receiver. We're taking a receiver here, pair up with Chris Olave. I think that we need an influx of young talent on the roster, and I think that drafting a receiver here will be helpful. I didn't even check if he has hidden depth, but it was a reach. Hopefully he's still a high 70s, and we got to get him on the field right away. We're gonna go back-to-back playmakers here. Sean Knight, tight end, here in the second round. I want to be able to give, even if it's Derek Carr for this season, I want to be able to give him young talent that can produce, getting him right around his range. He's hidden dev, so we know that for a fact. And hopefully Knight can come in here and become our, tight end for the next 4 years. And then with my final pick that I'm going to be selecting, Lewin Gibson, safety. He's more of a run stopper. Maybe has an opportunity to make some plays, and I think I kind of reached with him. It's kind of tough drafting players, especially when I kind of just don't even know the draft. But I'm only going to be doing the first 3 picks. Kind of making that an internal rule for myself. But yeah, we got 2 playmakers, a safety. I do think that those are all positions of needs, as well as we needed to get an influx of young talent. So hopefully the CPU got us some other good players. So Mitch Norwell, the first pick, does have hidden dev. That is new news for us. And he has a pure deep threat. So he's going to be able to get on the field. He will be on the field early on in this campaign for year 2. Sean Knight here, also hidden dev, tight end. Well, he's much more of a possession type of tight end. I don't think he will ever be like a true deep threat, that 83 speed, but he should be able to still make some plays. Gibson here, 66, not really good enough. And then we got 2 more playmakers that are in the 70s. The CPU was able to kind of help us out by drafting some late round studs, hopefully. So let's get into year 2. Year 1, there wasn't a lot of moves. There wasn't a lot of decisions to be made because there wasn't a lot of, trimming of the fat of the roster. So this team will be very much the same. And for year 2, this will be the starting unit, I guess. I mean, I don't know just yet. Offensive line, we get Ramczyk back from him missing all of last year, so that's nice. We're gonna of course go with Norwell and Knight as our number 2 receiver and tight end. The CPU drafted us a late round running back in James Priestley here. I don't know if I'm gonna start him over Kamara. And instead of starting Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler here, second year. Might as well just throw him in and see what he can do, really. At this point in time, this is kind of a throwaway season. And I might even decide to start more of the youth of the team. And I'm actually kind of leaning towards doing that. So I don't expect year 2 to be any better. It probably will be worse. So let's get to the midway point. Let's see what we can do. Well, now we're at 2-4. Still not a great start for us. You know, Spencer Rattler here, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks, not playing great. Jeffrey Priestley, I'm giving him the opportunity, and he's not doing much at all. Kamara has 3 scores on the ground. Mitch is proving to be a solid receiver, and due to the fact that we don't have a good quarterback, Chris Olave is having a quieter season. Sacks allowed, I mean, so far so good there. Defensively, only a few sacks. We're just not a good roster. It's unfortunate here that kind of the first 2 seasons we couldn't do much. We have $52 million to work with. So, and players like Trevor Penny, Alvin Kamara, Tyrann Matthews, I think that this is a perfect time to sell a lot of these players. So players like Demario Davis and Cameron Jordan, I will not trade away, but players like Tyrann Matthews and even I will trade away Alvin Kamara. But I'm looking to trade away. I'm not even just trying to trim away fat, but it's more just trying to get some extra draft capital. And unfortunately, I can't make any sort of trades. I mean, unless I sit here and try to find a team that can absorb, you know, so much money, I don't think I'm going to be able to really do anything. I was trying to get a 3rd round pick for Kamara, but unfortunately, guys, we kind of have to let everyone either walk or just keep the players that we kind of want to keep. Unfortunately, none of these players I really want to keep. All of these guys I'm probably going to be willing to let go and walk. So I guess year 2 is a lot of the same as year 1. Let's sim to the playoffs and, you know, hope that we could get some good development for these guys or something maybe. Well, we went 5-12 here in year 2. So with a worse roster, we lost or we won 1 more game. So I don't know what that tells you guys. That tells me that even with the influx of younger talent, it really doesn't matter. Now Spencer here played kind of good football, 22 touchdowns, 6 picks. It's not terrible. Did not have a running game. Jeffrey here struggled massively. We did get him some good development though, so that's good at least. Hopefully he can keep his star dev. I don't know if he will. Olave was 100 yards shy from 1,000. Mitch here, 866 with 7 scores, 69 catches, nice. And hey, our 3 young guys, and even Matthew Bishop, who I gave an opportunity to, our young guys produced. So I can't be too upset about that. Ryan Branchek struggled. Pat Warner here. Demario Davis led us in tackles. Isaiah Foskey had 5 sacks. Collectively, as a unit, we did pretty well in terms of sacks. We just didn't have a 10 sack type of guy, which is always kind of like the mark that you're trying to hit. A few interceptions, not too many to write home about. We had the 32nd ranked offense. And let's see if there is any Saints. We were number 2 and number 5 and number 6, or number 4, excuse me. So we had some guys definitely in contention for offensive rookie of the year, but unfortunately the quarterback gets it. And we didn't have anything else. So let's get to the offseason. Let's see if we can make any sort of moves. Well, here is the playoff, what's it called? The playoff depth chart, or whatever the fuck you call it. Who made the, not the playoff, the Pro Bowl? Jesus Christ. No one here for us in terms of quarterbacks. Probably not receivers. Kadarius Toney won it. I don't even know where he's at. In terms of offensive line, I don't see anyone. Defensively, I doubt. Maybe. No. Pete Werner made it in, so we did have one Pro Bowler. I don't know about year one, but we had one Pro Bowler, so if that's a consolation to anything, we're just a bad team that needs to figure things out, and hopefully we can get out of Derek Carr's contract. And this year's Super Bowl champs are the Green Bay Packers, beating the Buffalo Bills 31-23. Josh Jacobs, MVP of the Super Bowl, and Jacobs seems like he had a fantastic season for them. So good job for the Packers. Can we even sniff the postseason? We see Taysom Hill and Cameron Jordan both decide to retire, so good for them, hopefully. I mean, Cameron Jordan, I think, deserves to potentially be in the Hall of Fame. But in terms of re-signing, let's continue to get into this offseason here. So in terms of any sort of re-signing, we have $37 million. Brian Proceed here, I do want to pick up this 5th-year option. He is one of our better younger players. And for everyone else, I think I'm going to let them all test. Now, this is an interesting one here with Tyrann Mathieu. He is 34 years old. It would be one less thing that we have to kind of figure out is the safety position. Tyrann is still a starting caliber safety. Maybe we offer him this 1-year deal. I know we already don't have a lot of money, but I'm looking to hopefully trim a little bit of the roster. So Tyrann does not want to return, and I don't want to bring anyone else back. I mean, Demario Davis wouldn't be a bad player to keep, but 37 years old, he can still cover. So let's offer a 1-year deal here, and Demario Davis decides to stay. So we keep a long-term Saint. He played for the Jets for a little bit, but it's going to let me trim the fat of the roster a little bit and see if we can make any big splashes. So first of all, we're going to be cutting Derek Carr, saving close to $40 million. So this is the current state of the team. Carr was the only cut that I decided to make. So it looks like, I don't know if Chris Olave already had Superstar. Maybe he already had it. I have no idea. But offensively, we have to figure out the quarterback position. James Priestley here has lost his star development. He's 25 years old. He'll be a solid back for a few seasons for us. Excuse me. In terms of offensive line, got to figure out the left guard position, get some depth on the team. Defensively, I know we need a linebacker. We desperately need a safety. Could use some help across the defensive line. But let's go open free agency and see what moves I make. First of all, Brock Purdy is available, and I don't trust myself in drafting a quarterback, so we're going to target Brock Purdy. Nakobe Dean will be also a player we target. Leaves us with $6 million. Let's see what happens. Did we get Brock Purdy? We did not. Now the Lions want Nakobe Dean as well, and we also just lost out on players like Mark Andrews, Wyatt Taylor. There's probably a couple other players I was interested in, but now do have money. So let's just improve the team and try to draft a quarterback. So we're gonna go after some other players. So Jordan Ford here, trying to bring in a new quality back. Nakobe Dean, we've raised the offer to. Kayvon Kinlaw here, solid defensive tackle. Sam Howell, I just don't want to fall into a situation where we don't have quarterback. So Sam Howell, he has interest in coming here, so might as well. And then Ronnie Hickman here is a good young safety. Might as well target them. See if we have any New Orleans Saints, and we do. We brought in Ford, Kinlaw, and Hickman. So, we kind of solidified our defensive line a little bit more. We gave ourselves a quality back that we can pair up pretty nicely with someone. And Hickman here can be a starting safety potentially. Nakobe Dean still yet to make a decision, and same with Sam Howell. We'll evaluate one more time, and Sam Howell did decide to sign with us. So we got ourselves a quarterback just in case, if anything, if shit hits the fan. Dean is still deciding. I don't think I'm going to make any other decisions in terms of free agency. So let's get to the draft. And after free agency, this is the current state of the roster. Sam Howell's starting quarterback. Really don't want to see that. But we brought in Ford. We have Miller. We have Priestley. I think we have our young. I don't think we need to do anything in terms of the skill position this early. We could look to upgrade at left guard. But here in the first round, I'm looking at quarterback or something to help out on this defense. We do need a third corner. We need a safe. I mean, we can go with Hickman and Jordan Howden, but I think we need also linebacker as well. So quarterback is mostly at play here, and we pick. Let's look for the Saints logo. I don't even see them. Where the heck do we pick? We pick at 4. So we should have an opportunity to draft a quarterback. Dustin Rhodes will be the quarterback, will be the selection here with the 4th overall pick. And it says he has top 5 talent. He's number 2 ranked in the class in true value. We got him at 4. Hidden development, 95 throw power, 92 speed, 5'11" out of Washington. Hey, hopefully for the next 3 years, Dustin here at some point in time can lead us to a championship. BJ Matthews here, A tackle, A zone coverage. Sign me up here in the 2nd round. Matthews will be the pick, and might have drafted him a little bit before he should have gone, but I think Matthews can become our future linebacker. Frank here will be the selection in the 3rd round, just trying to help out at safety. Back-to-back years, we've taken safety in the 3rd round. We did get him at a good spot, so hopefully Frank's a good player. That will be the draft class, so getting a safety, getting a linebacker, and of course drafting the quarterback with the 4th overall pick. A lot is riding right now on Dustin. Can he become the franchise quarterback that this Saints team has not seen since Drew Brees? So Dustin Rhodes, 80 or 78 overall. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything, and that's what you want to see from day one. So Dustin, already the captain of the team. He's the guy, and there's no doubt in my head. We got 3 years. He has 3 years to do something for us. BJ Matthews here, 72, normal dev. Already a solid in zone coverage with 70. So hopefully he will develop nicely. I'm going to play him. We're going to be playing these young players. So, yeah. Frank here, 74 overall. Hey, he's already one of our better, I think he's our best safety on the roster. So, not too bad with my selections. I haven't even looked at, I don't know why Madden's so slow right now. In terms of anything else, the CPU drafted us 2 corners, one in Pat Herbert, or Albert here. Well, he will be the starter. Not the best in coverage, but he will start. So we'll see how that will how that's gonna pan out here. But mostly, this was only a defensive draft besides the quarterback. I should have done this in the last draft class too, but we did get technically the second or the tied for the best overall. Gabe here was the pick before us, but I was not considering a tight end. Dalton Roberts, didn't have a chance to draft him either. So, you know, something to think about. There was a safety there that I just saw, but yes, let's get into year 3. And let's see what this team can do. And this will be the roster for year 3. We drafted a young quarterback in Dustin Rhodes, number 2. Drafted him number 4 overall. He has this year, year 4, and year 5 to produce. He has Chris Olave, he has Mitch Norwell, Sean Knight. We brought in Ford. He has a quality offensive line with a defense that pairing up with a defense right now that, you know, I feel like we have 2 very good corners. We have a young up-and-coming safety here, and somehow Frank here got to star development. He earned it. Development trait increased. So somehow during the game, during the preseason, he got to star depth, which is actually very nice for us. So he has I don't want to sit here and say we have a good defense, but we have an okay defense that's up and coming, I think. So this team is on the rise, hopefully. Let's get to the midway point. Let's see how year 3 is developing, and hopefully we can win some football games. Well, we're currently 3-3, which is probably the best start we've had. Dustin here, 13 touchdowns, 7 picks, 1,600 yards passing. So far, so good, I would say. Ford here is yet to score, but 4 yards a carry, not too bad. And other backs are finding the way to get on the field. Chris Olave is having himself a good year. Matthew Bishop here producing. Mitch Norwell's having a quiet season. So our young players are producing, which is nice to see. Offensive line is playing good as well. Defensively, Brian Proceed here has 4 sacks. We only have 2 guys with sacks so far, and a few interceptions, 5, which is very good in my opinion. So things are kind of on the up and up as we're halfway through the year, as we made it to week 8. We have $165 million, and that most likely means we have a lot of important free agents to make decisions on. First of all, Chris Olave here, not even going to think about it. I want to keep him. Olave re-signs. No doubt in my mind that he will be good. This is an interesting one with Marshawn Lattimore, though I think it just makes the most sense to try to keep him. He stays. Isaiah Foskey, that's one that I'll come back to in a second. Ryan Ramczyk, I'm going to let this season play out and then negotiate with him. And then, guys, Kayvon Kinlaw, it matters really what he does this season. And then for everyone else, I don't really see myself pursuing, though. Right now, I would say if Foskey can kind of like get going here, he could become a solid rotational to solid starter. He has a sack. I think for right now, we don't negotiate with him. We have 126, so I would like to keep as much money as we possibly can to try to improve this team in free agency. But 3-3, let's get to the playoffs. I decided not to make any sort of trades, as you guys can clearly see. Let's see if we can make it to the postseason here in year 3, or if it's going to continue to be in a playoff draft for us. Well, the 3-3 start got us to 6 wins. Yeah, so another bad season from us. We've yet to even break over 7 wins. Dustin had a good yard season, 27 touchdowns, 11 picks. Would like to see that to be more touchdowns. Struggled to run the football again, but Ford had a productive season, I would say. 4.1 yards a carry is pretty solid. 2 1,000-yard receivers, Olave and Matthew Bishop. CPU drafted him, and he's developed very nicely for us. He's playing good football. Playing better than the 10th overall pick here in Norwell. But we're starting to kind of see these players develop here. But that's putting a lot of pressure on these up and coming off seasons because, you know, there's not a lot of time to truly make a ton of improvements. Brian Proceed, 18 tackles for loss, 8 sacks. Happy to see that. And Kinlaw here actually had a productive season as well. He actually might not be a bad decision to re-sign. Got some interceptions. Hitchman here got a couple as well. Surprised about that. We did have a better offense, top 10 this year. In terms of any awards, and Dustin got number 2, which is so disappointing. We didn't even have, oh, there's Pat Albert. Oh wait, no, where's the safety? I guess Albert played better than him. Well, that sucks. And I don't think that we're gonna have anyone else. I keep seeing Chicago Bears, and because I've just done the Bears franchise, I keep thinking that's us. So nevertheless, we are improving, we are developing, we are getting better. It's just that now we're kind of in that spot where we really need to improve and it not just the roster, but just in the win category. You know, that's I mean, that's really what we need. Pro Bowl roster, no quarterbacks. I don't expect to see that many. Olave got in, so that's one Pro Bowler. No one else. Might have an offensive lineman. Our O-line did play kind of well this year. Defensively, I'm not seeing too many players. Yeah, so we're gonna again have one Pro Bowler. Priestley made it in, so we actually technically had two, and that should actually help with any sort of development. So we had two Pro Bowlers, and this year's Super Bowl champs are the Kansas City Chiefs beating the Dallas Cowboys 41-35. Rashid Rice, MVP. This is the type of Madden that you guys expect to see the Cowboys get in multiple times. Sorry, being a little sarcastic there. Demario Davis is the only retirement for us. There's probably other players retiring. So as now we kind of get into this off season, as we're going to be entering into year 4. I mean, we're at a better state with the roster. It's just that it's going to be kind of tough sledding. Do we decide to keep Isaiah Foskey? No. For Ryan Ramczyk here, I am going to offer him a contract just because I don't really want to. Okay, so he decides to leave. You know what? Let's go into this offseason with $146 million, and let's really improve this team. Let's go out there. Let's make some free agent signings. Let's buy the championship. The current state of the roster right now, though, as you know, we have our quarterback, we have our 3 receivers. I think we have our starting tight end. Now, I don't know if players like Rhodes could have had other development. I have no idea, but he comes out as a star dev. That's not bad. It's not good either. We need help across the offensive line. Defensively, pass rusher. Matthews lost his depth trait. Corner and Albert also lost his. It was like 3rd or 4th on potentially for defensive player of the year, or defensive rookie of the year, excuse me. But we need help across the board. We just need an influx of talent. In truth, that's what we need to kind of do. Carl Grantham here, this could be a cut casualty, but I don't want to go out there and just sign a shit ton of free agents. We're probably going to, but yeah, so let's see what's out there. Let's see what improvements I can make. So we're going to be making these 5 targets here: Devin Lloyd, Smith, Trent Brown, John Runyon, Turner. Just trying to get some quality players to this team. And we got 4 out of the 5. Devin Lloyd is the only one who decided to go elsewhere. So linebacker is still a position of need, in my opinion. Even though we did bring in Nakobe Dean, and we did, well, actually, it's not hugely in need, but we helped out the defensive line massive. We helped out the 2 offense and defensive lines. Rashid Rice, he's going to the Falcons, unfortunately. Now we're going to have to play against the last Super Bowl MVP. Devin Lloyd's going to the Giants. And a lot of the top tier talent is kind of getting off the board. So let me continue trying to make some improvements to this team. I'm deciding to go after a couple specialists, as well as Eric Stokes and Devin Bush and Travis Gibson here. Some depth pieces across the defensive side of the football. And we got a lot of them. So Eric Stokes, I saw come over, and we got the punter and kicker. Still waiting on Bush, who's probably gonna go to the Vikings. Yeah, I think I'm done here in free agency. Let's get to the draft. And here's the current state of the roster as we enter the draft class. So we put 2 Band-Aids on the offensive line. I think we're kind of set here at wide receiver. We're 3 deep. We have our 2 running backs. We can continue to add depth. We have our quarterback. I think in this up and coming draft, we're gonna primarily try to get a pass rusher, maybe another linebacker, maybe a new safety as well. Probably trying to get more defense. We pick at 6, so we should be able to get a good starter. Let's see what happens. We need a pass rusher, and Bobby Davis, I hope he can become that. And we'll draft him here with the 6th overall pick. And he was ranked 25th. He has hidden dev, 66 speed. He's gonna be a day one starter. He's gonna make some plays for us. This draft, again, is gonna be primarily focused, I think, on the defensive side of the football. We're gonna go with Mattis Hooks here at safety, trying to kind of solidify more of this safety position. Another hidden dev, so we're back-to-back hidden dev players, so that's nice to be seen. And then third round time. And here in the third round, we're gonna go with Will Knox here, good run stopper, linebacker. So we're gonna get all 3 levels on defense. All 3 levels get a new hidden dev starter somewhere. So I'm happy about that. So we went heavily on the defensive side of the ball. Bobby Davis here will probably start day one. He has good finesse moves to start out. He has that strength to speed, to acceleration ratio. Madison Hooks here. He's gonna be also a day one safety for us. He's gonna play a lot of football, these young players, and we're kind of, again, relying on youth to carry this team. Will Knox here. Hey, he's gonna be a good run stopper. Might never be a cover linebacker, but that's okay with me. And we also, the CPU drafted us as 71 overall cover linebacker, so we did get a good coverage linebacker in the 4th round. And they went offense in the back half of the draft. So primarily on the defensive side of the football was the focus. Let's get into year 4, and it's almost becoming make it or break it. As year 4 is about to start, here is the roster. So not a lot of changes in terms of the offense. We might have downgraded more in terms of the offensive line. Ryan Runyon is here. Trent Brown has come over. But we're relying heavily on the players that we've drafted to produce. I think we improved this team. The team looks very different. We're going with the 3 young linebackers that I've drafted. I want to see these guys produce. We brought in Eric Stokes. Bobby Davis is here. And this is a massive year, because if we can have a winning season this season, and make it to the postseason, it will make it a lot easier to sign free agents. It'll be a lot easier to set up year 5 as a true really make it or break it type of season. If we can make it to the postseason this year, fantastic. If not, that's fine. And with a 3-3 start, not great, not terrible either. Pretty average. We have $164 million to work with. Now, Kool-Aid here, absolutely gonna keep him. He's one of our really important pieces on this defense. Same thing here with Brian Proceed. Just can't let good players go. Now, this is kind of getting into the interesting spot here, because we have 2 offensive linemen in regression. Do we keep them or not? Now we have a couple quarterbacks that we're gonna probably let go. Eric Stokes, if he really produces, I will consider it. And then for everyone else down the line here, they're kind of just depth to backup type of players. So it's kind of the 2 offensive linemen. And I really don't want to go into this off season having to try to figure this out. Cesar Ruiz did not sign. Eric McCoy does, though. So if we have to go into this up-and-coming free agency having to fill out 3 spots, it's going to be tough. But currently 3-3. The season could go any way right now. And Dustin Rhodes is having a great year so far. 10 touchdowns, 1 pick. Kind of running the football pretty well. So far, so good there. Mitch Norman producing. Chris Olave as well. The youth of this team is what has to take us the distance. Getting some sacks, not that many. Our rookie edge rusher that we drafted, Bobby Davis, has yet to produce one. But it takes a few years, and we don't have a few years. So Bobby Davis, we're going to have to find him. He's kind of going to become the Robin, because we're going to have to go out there and try to sign a big-time free agent. So this is the last off season. So let's see if we can make it to the postseason. Well, here in year 4, we went 7-10. So we improved winning-wise. But I don't know if that's really enough for this team. And as like I reiterated, or as I'm going to sit here and say to you guys, this is our last offseason to really produce anything. Well, Knox here came down as a superstar, so that's something to be kind of happy with. But coming off of a 7-10 record, we're gonna probably lose 3 starting offensive linemen, and that's gonna kind of put us in a interesting spot. Dustin Rhodes had a great start to end the season with 14 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Really couldn't establish again a running game. We got 2 1,000-yard receivers. We've been able to do that kind of well. Olave's been a good contributor for us. And our 2 starting linebackers, they played well. In terms of sacks, Brian Burseed led us the way. And Bobby Davis only got 2. He was a good in the running game. Marshawn Lattimore got a couple interceptions. So, middle of the road offense. We're entering into year 5, last offseason that we can improve the team in any sort of way. Tyson Hall here did win defensive rookie of the year. So we have our first award winner in either one of these 2 episodes. So that's good. As you guys can clearly see, I'm pretty bad at rebuilding a team in 5 years. I don't know the meta. I don't know if I'm supposed to be using a playbook or something. I don't know. I kind of just go in it, default across the board, and just kind of have fun. Trying to just draft and everything. And here are the Pro Bowlers. As I don't think that we're gonna have too many. Olave got in. Not the tight end. I don't think we're gonna see too much across this offensive line. Defensively, Robinson got in, who is a 78 overall, but I'm not thinking that we're gonna see anyone else. So, hey, Nix got in, so that's good. The other linebacker, but Nix did. I think that's us. I think that's a Pro Bowler for us. I'm gonna count that as a Pro Bowler for us. Why the hell not? Super Bowl recap. The LA Chargers with Justin Herbert beat the Minnesota Vikings 31 to 28. So, hey, the Chargers won a Super Bowl. If that gives us any sort of hope. In terms of retirements, I don't think that we'll have any. We didn't. We have very much became a young roster in a very, very quick amount of time. So we're entering into an off season right now. I know I'm looking at this roster prematurely. Knox lost his dev trait, which is so weird to me. I feel like they're so aggressive. Marshawn Lattimore also went down from an X Factor to a star. So we're now going to be entering into the last off season, potentially having to figure out 3 offensive linemen. Mitch will pick up his 5th-year option for. Cesar Ruiz, I mean, if he takes us, I'll gladly have him. So we only have to figure out 2 offensive linemen, and everyone else here we're going to let go. So we're going to have to kind of figure out both depth as well as, well, we need depth, offensive linemen, and top-tier talent. So this is going to be a very interesting free agency period. I might take a little bit more time on this than I have in the other free agency periods, but we need to surround Tyson with talent, and we have the cash to do so. So let's go do it. We have 2 young up-and-coming linebackers, 2 good safeties. We have solid secondary. How's Albert developed in this series? So we could look to upgrade at corner. Corner is definitely a spot. Pass rusher is probably the glaring need on this defense. So let's go out there. Let's make some moves. Let's see what we can do. So we got a few big targets out here. Jamar Gibbs, Terrence Arnold, Joey Bosa, Taylor Malone, and Eric Green, Kendrick Green here. So 2 offensive lineman band-aids. There isn't really that top-tier lineman that I could really target. I mean, I could go after, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but I could go after him, and that is actually something I'm now considering to do so. We're gonna withdraw this offer here to Taylor Moton. We can go back to him if necessary. We have the money, and I'm going to throw out this money to as many people that will listen to me. So trying to basically solidify our 2 tackle positions. It's trying to solidify our running game, trying to solidify our secondary, and Joey Bosa is the best pass rusher available. Trying to solidify that and solidify completely the offensive line. So, and we only got Joey Bosa. Oh my goodness. We lost out on the tackle, the running back, the corner. We lost out on everyone because no one wants to come here and play football. So this kind of goes out to plan B. See what's out there. We gotta be able to make some sort of moves. We're trying to go after Cooper again. Jalen Wright is a back that we're gonna go after, and Taylor Moton as well. Trying to help out this team. We got the 2 linemen. We again lost out on the corner. So we lost out on the 2 big corners here. We did not target Ramsey or any of these other guys here that we could have. I decided not to. But we help out the edge rushing. The offensive line is back to being Band-Aid again. And Jalen Wright, I don't know if he's coming to us. I mean, at this moment in time, I have so much money. I gotta spend it somehow. Might as well throw my money around, go after Wyatt Taylor, Jonathan Allen, Jalen Wright, and Rico Green. Just trying to improve this roster, and we just can't. I can't even spend the money. We started this series off not being able to spend the money for 2 off seasons. And then we had an off season where we kind of could, and now the last 2, we really just couldn't. And this is putting us now in a position where we're gonna enter into the draft class with so much cash and not as much of an improved roster as you wanted. And no matter how much you slice it right now, we have the same quarterback, the same offensive weapons, an offensive line that has kind of just been downgraded over the years. A defense now that, yeah, it's fantastic that we have Joey Bosa. That's awesome. But a defense here that's starting to regress in terms of Lattimore. We did bring in Green, so our secondary is kind of more complete. There just isn't a ton that, you know, my 3 selections that I'm going to be making here are going to be really able to do. And here with the 13th overall pick, Jaron Westbrook, running back. I'm trying to help out our quarterback with getting him another offensive weapon here. And we kind of reached on him in terms of true value. Still hidden dev. It's not terrible, but it's not great either. Getting him another weapon. Baskerville, tight end. Again, trying just to get him some offensive weapons to help him out. We'll finish the draft class drafting Mike Albrum, a pass rusher, trying to help out the defense a little bit, but I really don't know how year 5 is going to really end up. I mean, yeah, I have no idea. So here's the draft class. Westbrook here, 74, hidden dev running back. Now, I'm not going to start him. He will play, but I'm not going to start him because we already tried that. Basham here, he's normal development. I didn't see this depth trait, but he can help out the offense a little bit, I think. I don't know, possibly. And then the edge rusher that we got is a 68. Solid. Mike will probably not play because of Joey Bosa. And then we got a defensive tackle. We have $103 million. So I'll see if there's any free agents that I want to sign, but most likely, we're not going to be able to. And for year 5, this will be the roster. This is our last chance to make the postseason, to do really anything. I did decide to go out there. Stefon Diggs was available. Come to the roster. We just need you. So we brought in Diggs. Just try to be that veteran, just a higher overall than Max Bishop or Matthew Bishop here, who I do like. I do think he's a quality receiver, but I think that having more of like a generated game, like a real life player in that position is more beneficial. Defensively, hey, we have 3 good young linebackers, 2 young good safeties. We have 2 shutdown corners, brought in a third. Bosa is now on this defensive line. We have a quality team. Maybe in most situations, this is a average to a little bit of above average roster. And I would completely agree. And it's so difficult in this style of building a team in 5 years, you know, because the first 2 years, we couldn't do anything in terms of improvements. And then when we could improve the team, we were so bad that it handcuffed us. But this is why this is so much fun for me. I really do hope you guys are enjoying today's video. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought. I've been recording for almost 2 hours right now, so I hope that this video isn't as long as the Panthers one. And you guys get the real-time 6-11, no playoffs. I just can't believe it. I just really can't. It's definitely unfortunate. As you could sit here and say I should have just turned, I mean, I don't even know if I should be turning auto upgrades on, but this is just so disappointing. We drafted Dustin Rhodes to be the guy. He produced a few he played good football. I can't sit here and say that he played, like, he could have played better, absolutely, and he probably just is coming off of his best season. But I can't fault us for drafting a quarterback, entering into year 3, and we got him close to a 90 overall. I can't fault us for that. I mean, if Rhodes was there in the first draft class, it would be different. And we couldn't really ever figure out a running game. You know, we tried Presley, we tried other backs, it never really worked out. Besides Kamara's first year, we figured out the receiving. We've been able to get 1,000-yard receivers, but it's just tough sledding here with the Saints. The Saints are a very difficult team to rebuild in a quick matter of time. Same thing with the Panthers, but it's just kind of unfortunate here. You know, players like Marshawn Lattimore just could not take this team to the next necessary step. So, from year 1 to year 5, we only cracked we never cracked above a winning record. First of all, we went out there, we won 6, 5, 6, 7, and then 6 again. So that's close to like 32 wins in 5 seasons. We always had double-digit losses in a season. We just never could break 500. So, are the Saints a team that I would sit here and say that it's an easy team to rebuild in 5 years? No, they're very difficult. Was this a lot of fun for me? Absolutely. But guys, please let me know down below what your thoughts of today's action. Subscribe to the channel if you want to continue seeing these 5-year rebuilds. In 2 rebuilds so far, we've made it to 1 playoff game. 1. So, hopefully in the next one, we can do a little bit better. I don't know if I'm going to continue just doing the NFC South. These were the first 2 teams that I kind of wanted to do. But yeah, guys, subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below what your thoughts, and like the video. It does really help me out. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.